Welcome, folks. This is Do-Rag Wisdom. And once again, welcome to Earth Date Y2K 18.02.05. 274 days to the midterm elections and 3 days to another possible government shutdown. Remember The Godfather, that movie The Godfather, the book too? I read the book a few times, saw the movie many times. The Godfather series helped me survive my career as a New York City teacher, believe it or not. Vito Corleone's wish to Michael. And what was that wish? That he not be pulled by strings, that he can pull the strings. Now, we know how evil Don Corleone was, but we also understood from that movie the evil world that he was living in, that enables evil. Pulling strings, that's what it's all about, folks. Those in power manipulate us, drive us crazy. I grew up with a father suffering from severe PTSD and other physical conditions that was a mental condition, but he had other physical conditions due to his experience in mortal World War II combat, including getting blown up in a one of those transport boats. He bravely defied the Nazis, and I'm glad that he did not live to see a Nazi named Bertha Trader Trump become president of our country, enjoying the enabling evil up to this era's GOP. Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Dwight Eisenhower, once again are turning over in their graves. I spent 35 years of my life under the possible threat, according to those above, of Russian communism. And at the same time, I was living in a country responding to this threat with totalitarian, fear-mongering McCarthyism and the formation of the House Un-American Activities Committee, UAC. The country at the time, during the 50s and the 60s, was still practicing racism and terror. And now, we're supposed to believe that the Russians are not a threat to us today. They're not a threat. The Russians are not a threat to us today because they no longer practice communism, but instead fascist oligarchy. That makes it okay. That makes everything okay. The Russians are wonderful now because they're practicing capitalism, fascism with impunity. Gangster impunity. You know, the Russian oligarchs make the so-called Italian mafia look like a playground game, because the Russian fascist oligarchs are looking not just for territories, their territory. They want the entire planet to be their territory, and they have a creep named Trump and his GOP that are involved with that. I'm supposed to believe now the strings are being pulled. The strings are being pulled. Now I'm supposed to, from all the years that we had to put up with this fear of communism, and now that these creeps in Russia are practicing fascism, that's okay. They're good now. My ass! I told you I watched The Godfather many times, and I do not want to be a puppet on a string. Okay? I do not. I don't want to be a puppet on a string being pulled by these scumbags in power. These rich Koch brother GOP scumbags in power. Look what they're doing. They're bringing back the 1950s. Geez, I want to have the giant bug movies again. Serious. The Attack of the Crab Monsters. You know what? Them, Tarantula, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the Deadly Mantis, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. We spent years trying to limit the threat of nuclear weapons only to see that threat come back again. Pull the strings, it's okay, right? It is time for us to stand up and demand that those who run our planet stop manipulating us into frenzies. Stop manipulating us with hate and lies. Look, I don't look at the ads on Facebook. I don't look at ads anywhere except if I want to. I don't get manipulated. I don't get brainwashed. And I vote. They have been pulling our strings for as long as I can remember. And we must finally pull back to topple them all. Yes, I can learn things from fictional characters, either good or evil, as those characters may be. But I never, folks, I never want to be controlled by these bastards, and I'll never let them control me. And you have to fight every day of your lives to make sure they don't control you either.